Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Fans in Motion podcast, the only podcast you didn't know you needed. I'm looking at my friend Josh and Rockin' Robyn, and I say to both of them, very simple, very to the point. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. I told you once before, I don't know. Say hello, Josh.
Well. We got a little bit of representation from 7. Should have been called 8. But
a little debate there.
And sometime, Andy, when we're old men,
Wait,
older men,
I think I am old.
or the rest of you femmes, when we got Fans in Motion, 2060, I'll tell you a story about that record. Me and Jack Blades cannot tell it now, though.
Oh, nice. Now I'm curious. Josh, stop recording and let's go ahead and talk about it.
But me and Andy are the beauties. Introduce the beast on the podcast today.
I think you got that backwards there, Josh. But ladies and gentlemen, Rockin' Robyn has joined us for this episode. Brent is not available tonight. He is tied up.
Rockin' Robyn Ludiddy.
So I'm better loosen him up.
He'll be fine.
He was wasn't he drinking? He was pretty loosened up on your trip to Nashville, Indiana, right?
Yeah, there was some drinking going on between the two passengers, not the driver, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were having a good time.
So now that were they giving you directions when you were missing turns?
No, but they did keep me in line because we made that late night run home, and I don't know if I missed turns or my GPS wasn't getting the signal, but like at some point Brent's like, I think you got to turn there, and I went past it. I was like, oh shit. So we had a lot of that on the way home until the GPS kicked in, but it was all good times.
Yeah. Rockin' Robyn, you ready for Christmas?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
I like to call it Yule.
Yeah.
All right. So, Andrew, what do we got going on for this episode?
Well, we're doing a little question and answer. Josh had put it out there to the page itself, and sometimes we get questions, and Josh likes to compile them every now and then, and we have a little conversation. We try to answer them the best we can, and by we, I mean Josh, and we just chime in. So hopefully we'll get to your question and answer, and
I think there's some
have a little conversation.
Andrew's going to be able to answer. Now, I'm going to wait till the end of the show to answer, because a few people have asked this about in September, which was actually August. They were at Sweetwater. We're in the studio.
Yep.
Mentioned it on stage a few times when we were playing Wasted Time, which Wasted Time was a single release on Record Store Day back in April of 22. Had 2 new Night Ranger tracks on it. Wasted Time and Free. Free is a kick-ass song. But anyways, they were in the studio. So, they started playing Wasted Time live. We saw it at Sweetwater. Went over great. I mean, it live was better than the studio version. So we'll talk about that at the end, kind of like the what's like the climax or the tease.
Yeah.
So let's go to here. W. Orion Fairman.
Orion. Now he was having some libations with the group.
He was. So will we see the Contemporary Youth show or Contemporary Youth Orchestra show in 2023 or 2024?
That's a good question.
I'm curious.
I would think 2023. I do know they're already in the early parts of editing it. I saw that edit, some of it. I can say it's absolutely phenomenal. It is probably one of the best things I've seen Night Ranger do in a long time. And this is just like a rough edit too. I mean, they're going to get it even better. But there was 18 cameras there. I mean, there's cameras everywhere. The it's all high def now. I mean, to me, not that I disliked it, but like the Live in Chicago, it was okay. This blows it out of the water, just with the camera angles and just the footage, and it's just awesome.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
We talked, and I think Ed had told us that the audio will sound a lot better because they took it off the board versus us sitting there, because a lot of the people I talked to, so we couldn't really hear the symphony as much.
Correct.
And I think Ed had told us that will balance out.
So I was down front and I could barely hear the symphony. Now, when I went back to the back, I could hear it. So where you were at in the theater depended on how well you heard the symphony. But yes, so they recorded the symphony separate, just like everything, the guitars. And so now they can bring that up. So you should be able to hear it. And I could on, I was just seeing it on a laptop. So, the little speaker there, I could still hear it. And they got, they've got cameras in the orchestra. They had the big boom, camera in the back. And it's just really good. Everyone's going to be happy.
Awesome.
Just say that. But yeah, I would think 2023, they're working on it now. I think you want to do it while they're still hype. But I don't have any control over it. So
yeah. So you don't have a definitive yes or no, but we believe it'll be this year.
It's being already worked on. So I would,
all right.
I would assume so. The next question W. O'Brien Fairman asked. I'm going to jump ahead a couple questions just for the fact I want to crack open this beer. Why does Josh like cheap beer so much? So I grabbed the cheapest one in my fridge. It's really not cheap. I mean, PBR is, it's got a hefty price, but I don't buy beer for the price. I buy it for the taste. Pabst Blue Ribbon just happens to taste good. Now in my fridge, I got Miller Genuine Draft. That's not a cheap beer, and I got Coors Original.
And couldn't you also say that PBR is an award-winning beer?
Well, won a Blue Ribbon in 1853.
So there you go.
I apologize, but
way before all the IPAs took over the world.
You know what? I don't.
And the fat tires that was being consumed by one W. O'Brien himself.
Like, listen, I got Yingling upstairs, but I don't need. There's a reason why these breweries are small and are just like local, because their beer fucking sucks. If it was good, it'd be nationwide. Okay. And and it just usually sucks. It's like, it's got a hint of this, fruit,
blueberry. It's got some blueberry in it.
A little bit of nutmeg, and I'm like, all right, I just want some cheap ass corn, ferment the shit. And when I do have to go to these places, like we had a retirement party, and it's like brew dog or whatever, and it's like all this fucking nasty ass beer up there. I always look like at the labels or like the pulls for the taps, and whichever one has the ugliest label, that's the one I drink, because the shittier the beer, the cooler label or tap they need to sell.
Sure.
So if it's just like the one that just says beer on it, give me that one. I mean, my favorite beer is free beer. I mean, that's
well, I'd say also, Josh, you're probably a loyalist, right? You probably started with PBR and you're like, you know what?
No,
this works for me.
I probably started off on like Miller Lite, and I would go to parties, when you're 18, 19, or what? I mean, my lawyer's probably telling me 21, 22.
Yeah, 21.
And, when you have light beer, people would take it. Hey, can I have a beer? And of course, yes, you can have a beer. And I was like, man, I'm giving away half my beer. So then I started bringing, Budweiser. And not as many people asked, but later in the night, a beer's a beer. So those went. So I'm like, well, fuck. And especially back then, Pabst was really, I guess not cool or whatever you want to call it. But because now you can get Pabst everywhere, but back then you couldn't. And I got that, right? And I'm thinking, definitely early in the night, no one's asking for a ribbon, but towards the end of the night, again, a beer's a beer. or not even towards the end of the night, just a couple hours. So then I learned how to drink it warm. I would just bring warm PBR, and that's how no one's drinking a warm beer. I found out. So there for a couple
Piss
years.
water.
So it sounds like you are a cheap
Like
bastard, to be
literally.
honest. You don't want to share your beer.
Well, if I went
That's how I read that. Tell me if I'm wrong.
If I went to
Robyn?
a party and I brought 12 beers,
You're
I
not
want
wrong.
to I want to drink 10, right? I'll give away a couple, but when I take a 12-pack to a party and I'm drinking like 5, I'm like, all right, then I'm stuck. I don't have any fucking beer. And so that's how the PBR came about. But
There we go.
I digress. W. Orion Fairman. Oh God, it's like Christmas
We
in
should
my mouth.
Add that to the drinking game. Every time you say his full name, you have to take a drink.
W. Orion Fairman.
Isn't it just Orion?
It is Orion, but he corrects me every time I say that. He's like, it's just Orion. I was like, yeah, but it says W. He goes, I had to do that.
All right. So his question right after, what's the best Night Ranger live album? There was a great King Biscuit show back in the day. And I think that King Biscuit show maybe is the would that be the Cincinnati show? Maybe I can't.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. So, not a sanctioned one, I don't believe it, or is it?
There is.
I have a bootleg of it myself, and it was Dawn Patrol, and they played the entire album, if I remember correctly, in the radio station studios there in downtown Cincinnati, or Mount Adams. Sorry, it would have been Mount Adams.
I have it like digital. But the original record, kind of like how the 85 Seven Wishes one I always talk up, the Westwood one.
Yeah.
Yes, I was thinking of that.
All right. So that's number one. That's the best live record. But the King Biscuit, that was sent to radio stations. Night Ranger was on. It was an episode, a show or whatever, but it had a live section from one band and a live section from Night Ranger. The other band was Mahogany Rush, and they are not cheap to find. I do not have one.
Yeah.
The ones I see are like $300, but that's one of them. I don't know if that's what he's talking about, but so live records, I guess what you have is, the official releases would be
Live in Japan,
released in 89. You would have Rock in Japan 97. Technically, you would have the extended versions, Night Ranger extended versions, released in 2004. It's that Tokyo show from 2003. You would have the Chicago show.
This one right here.
Yep, the live in Chicago, 35 years.
It wasn't an initial release of Seven Wishes, though, was there? That's right here. Just a video.
Yeah, you have the audio, though, on that Westwood one.
Right.
So
we don't have like an official.
So me personally, if mine would be the Westwood one. It was unlike the VHS. It was designed, it was mastered for TV. The Westwood one was mastered for audio consumption. And God, Jack's bass and Kelly's drums just fucking explode on that recording. If I then had to take that out and do the official releases, I'd have to go with Live in Japan. That's just, the killer versions of the songs, and you get Man in Motion tracks.
That's what I say. Yeah.
Let Him Run.
When you get Man in Motion, right?
Yeah. So that would be my favorite. Robyn, your favorite Night Ranger live record. Now, my first question is, have you listened to these Night Ranger live records?
Yes. Well, I know definitely just Live in Japan, but I've always wanted to listen to that vinyl you talk about because I'm a vinyl junkie.
Yeah.
The Westwood one. So I would have to say, if I trust Josh's opinion on that one, so I want to hear it.
Oh, wait to hear some of my other opinions. Trust me.
God.
I lean towards the 35 years in a night because I was at that show. So
yeah, definitely.
I kind of like that one.
And I'll probably be biased with this one too.
Oh yeah, well then the
because I'm probably like smack in the front. And I know at one point I don't remember what song, but like I looked over and it was already like on me, and I was like, Okay.
Metal.
Yeah, it was. I can see being at the show, that being
Kind of make you slightly biased.
well, sentimental. I get, what I mean? Like there's that, how sentimental stuff will always push up the front. And I think too, I mean, listen, that came out what, 2016, right?
Sure.
17, 18?
I can look if you want me to.
No, it came out in 16. It came out the year before Don't Let Up. So I had a lot going on that year, so I just really never had the time to get to kind of build it up.
I don't think my arm's long enough to get this away from me to read.
I know there's this Rock on the Range that shows on Access TV. It's actually the year it was Godsmack and Judas Priest, and I was front row for like every band, but I like tired out of my mind because I was there from like 10 a.m. to be there front row for Judas Priest when they went on.
I looked tired,
and they didn't record Judas Priest even. I'm like, wow, that was for nothing.
I looked tired out of my mind because I was tired out of my mind.
2016 was the trademark on the back.
Yeah.
So it might have been that same year.
Could have came out in 2017. I don't recall.
I was at work the other day and someone came up to me. He's like, "Hey, who was the boxer that said no moss?" Do you remember who it was?
It's
boxers except for Rocky.
I'm drawing a blank.
He asked me. I was like, I think it was Roberto Duran.
I think you're right.
He looked it up, and we looked it up, or I looked it up after I told him, and it was, and I'm just like, how the fuck? Like, there's like something I need to know right now to save someone's life, and somehow Roberto Duran's in there.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I can't balance a checkbook, but I can give you the name of Radar's dog from MASH. So
Lucky.
No. Technically, actually, you'd like it. His name is Ranger.
There we go. Lucky was the.
I don't know if it ties in with my infatuation with a certain band out of Northern California, or I'm just a MASH fanatic. I don't know.
You like the MASH movie?
Not as much as the series.
MASH movie's great.
I
all right.
MASH the show too.
We could have another whole episode about that. I have opinions.
This is still W. Orion.
Drink.
How many of us Night Ranger, or no, he asked, who has the most Night Ranger vinyl? I would assume that would be me.
Josh. I think Josh has more than the actual members of Night Ranger.
I have probably 40 Night Ranger albums I still got to like catalog. They've been sitting there for a year. How many of us Night Ranger zealots are in or have lived in Ohio? I'd say about 50% of us. I'm pretty sure that the members of Night Ranger can claim residency in Ohio now too.
How many members of the podcast?
Yeah, well,
including Brent, who's not here.
4 native, if you do include me.
Yeah.
What FIM members? I originally read this. I thought he meant the podcasters. What FIM members have the coolest hair? I replied, well, there's only one person with hair on the podcast. Well, right now too, but who has the coolest hair? On the I'm going to say Robyn Ludidi
of the podcast.
Or no, on the page of members.
The page. Oh boy.
I mean, Greenaway and
he's a good running for the. Everybody thought he was in Night Ranger in Indiana, so.
He was like an English Jack, though.
Yeah,
like,
everybody thought
they
he
had
was
similar
Jack.
hairstyles.
I do not. I have. I'm working on a 5 head here, so I just got a haircut today, and it's not helping my situation.
And Night Ranger tattoos. Well,
wow.
You have one. You got one.
Do you have one?
No, Robyn's wanting to get the signatures. I know that, but what else?
Yeah. No. No.
I don't have a Night Ranger tattoo.
Like right around here, though. No, I might get something else down the line, but that's like priority.
I mean, in my younger days, I could have done a Night Ranger tattoo, but I did not.
Back when
you're not too old, you can still get a tattoo, Andrew.
I have a tattoo. It's just not Night Ranger.
It's the Bengals.
Who dey?
I'll hook you up. Come Next time we come to Cleveland, we're
No,
getting
I meant
Andy and
Eternal Flame Bengals.
Shit. Hey, listen, man. Susanna Hoffs is still hot, so I will take that.
Yeah, but you always like the drummer, though.
I do. Yeah, that's natural.
But
never really the hottest member of the female rock bands, is it?
Yeah. I think I like the one with the dick. But so my
awkwardly, I like Kelly. Just stop.
So back when people were all getting those tribal tattoos and everything was black, I went and got the 7 Wishes girl and put the year under my year I was born underneath it instead of the 7 Wishes. And for a long time, it was a really cool tattoo. Well, it still is a cool tattoo, but it was cool because everybody else's tattoos were tribal and black.
Barbed wire.
And I had, and I had, a girl on there and it was all color and everything. And if I wore a tight shirt back when I had the muscles, you would see some of it and girls would lift it up and, it's almost like a rebel thing or something. I don't know. But now the color tattoos have they're back in and people are getting the pinup girls and getting them on their arms and shit. So, I remember when I first got my first tattoo back in the 90s in Memphis. It was right before the tattoo craze really started kicking off. So now there's like tattoo parlors and malls and shit.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy, the only tattoo place we could find on Beale Street was down this alley, right? Go down the alley and then you take
safe.
a right. And the guy that gave us the tattoos was bald, big, fat, bald, and had lightning bolts on the side of his head. Must have been a Chargers fan. But yeah.
It sounds like Rob Halford, actually.
I was like, sounds like Halford in a bad day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how much has changed. Janice Robachika, whatever her name is. What are the writers for Night Ranger? Their must-haves. Why can't I get presents to Ed for the band? Sweet Hot Water and management said they would, but kept them. I don't know about the presents and Ed and the band. That's their business, and I just unfortunately do not know. The writers for Night Ranger. Listen, there's nothing crazy. I mean, just certain kind of beer, water, different kind of foods. And
what about restraining orders? So is there still one out on me? Can I get close to the band with an escort? Listen,
you were good until you
back in the 90s. Things going 89 when things went a little south on me.
You were good until you mailed the nudes to Brad.
Yeah.
But like the writer, yes, there's a writer, and I don't, I really, don't want to, talk about what's on. I don't know what's on it. I just know from being back here what I see. But it's just your typical stuff. Beverages, waters, some beer and fruit and
no crazy M&M stories.
No. Now David Lee Roth said the reason why they did that.
I do know it.
Yeah,
he's smart. That was very smart.
Yeah. Go ahead and
you can tell the story.
Is if they took the time, basically it was attention to detail.
Yep.
If they saw that in the writer and this huge writer and they did that, then they knew that they'd done stuff on the stage correctly. And
right. Everything else would be taken care of.
Yeah. So that is the reason why. Brad Klink stated on here that, in response to W arrived, that he has a Night Ranger tattoo as well. All right. Shapen Chapin, friend of the podcast. Any further updates on the CYO release? Tom, rewind the podcast to the beginning, and there is your answer.
Asked and answered.
Mm-hmm. Karen Sanders Yingling. Great to know.
Yeah.
I think that was a little bit of a typo there, but
sounds like a PBR speech thing.
It says, well, I'll read you what she wrote. Great to know more about Brad's solo albums and future albums. I think she probably meant I want to know more or whatever, about Brad's solo albums and future albums. Is it still going to be released?
Call him up, Josh. Get him on the blower.
Oh yeah,
that should go over fine.
Oh, that's good. So Brad had a set amount of songs ready 2020. I was fortunate enough to be able to listen to that record. Well, I won't say record, those set of songs that they had finished. And they were good. I mean, there's heavy stuff, soft stuff, slower stuff, acoustic stuff, rock and stuff. I mean, I don't want to, get too much into it, but since then, and two of the songs they played on Rudy Sarzo's radio show he had on some internet app a couple years ago. But since then, there's more songs that have been recorded. They're still mixing them and writing new stuff. And I've heard some of the stuff that they've done. Some of the stuff is going to be surprising. It's really cool. But Night Ranger takes so much time. It's just a slow process. You got to remember, if they play a show Friday or Saturday, well, they're busy Thursday and Sunday, getting and leaving wherever they're at. Then if you spent 4 days on the road, probably the 5th day you want to relax. This next day you're probably then working on your record or something, and then the next day you're getting probably ready to leave again. So there's not a lot of time there. But he is constantly working on it. That's really all I can say. Not that I know much more than that, but it's killer. I mean, if you're a Brad fan, you're going to love it. It's, it has elements of Night Ranger, but obviously it's different too. It's just a good rocking album. It's I don't want to say album because what I have isn't an album. Okay. Here's 13 songs I was, we're working on. Trying to think. So Gary sings on most of them.
Oh,
Derek,
really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I remember you telling us that. I'm sure you did, but I don't remember that.
Yeah, there was a photo released from the studio a couple years ago. It's him, Gary, and I forget some younger guy drumming. Derek Shrinian plays keys on some of it. He's God, who's he with right now? Billy Sheehan was in the group Apollo something. Anyways, with a lot of big time players. And then he was in Dream Theater. He's played with everybody, Yngwie and all that stuff. So I mean, it's there, and hopefully we get to hear the finished product soon. Doug Frazier, everybody talking about Joe Frazier. More full album shows. I would have loved seeing Donna Madness, Midnight Wishes, Big Wishes. Full album shows.
Yes. I thought he meant more album show podcasts. It's like, I think we've done most of them.
I definitely missed out on Donna Madness. So
it was amazing. I saw it up there in Cleveland at Northfield.
Me and you love Chipping Away, so I've never seen that live.
Hey,
I'm too young then.
we're far enough away from when it happened. It was in the summer. I don't remember where, but it was during sound check. And they goofed around a little bit with Play Rough.
Oh, I love that one too.
Just like the riffs a little bit and the first couple verses, but and Penny still lingers in there. Like they will sound check Penny. I know it's not my favorite, but so yeah, for those that don't know,
Can't Find Me a Thrill is like so underrated. Like I don't know how they sleep on it. It's on their first album.
I've always said
it just rocks.
Cupcakes and women.
It's like priest worthy. It really is.
Maybe that'll get him to do it. Send a message to Jackson. Jack, that song was priest worthy, man.
I want to put this on record. Again, I got a good story I cannot tell about Can't Find Me a Thrill from the band. So when we're all old guys,
that cocaine.
well, you know, it's not like that.
Not so much cocaine, but less trousers.
It's just
definitely
like,
less trousers.
If you're a Night Ranger nerd and you want to know the mechanics of the band, that's where it flows into. But you know, then when we're all 80 sitting on the porch and we do our virtual podcast, I won't
or an episode 800.
I won't remember. Oh fuck. I just pissed myself. But what was the question? Oh, the full album shows. So Dawn of Madness was Night Ranger played the full first record, Dawn of Madness, and the full second record, Midnight Madness.
And some hits in between. They played about 4 or 5 songs in between.
They played Reason to Be at some shows. They played Panic and Jane off of 7, Forever All Over Again. I think they played Color Your Smile too.
Love it.
Here's a little. See, this is the shit. One of these recently. It might have been Cleveland or where we were last. Somehow someone asked, with the band we were and asked about Color Your Smile, and one of them goes, how did that begin? And I think it was Jack. He kind of goes dun 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 dun. I was actually surprised he remembered. But yeah, but little things like that was kind of cool. But I think they did Color Your Smile. So here was if I ran Night Ranger, this was my idea. 2022, you do the full album of Dawn Patrol. That's how you advertise the whole year. 40 years of Dawn Patrol. Mm-hmm. You're not really adding that many new songs because you really play about 5 of them, most of the time, at least 4. No, let's see here. You do Sing Me Away.
A lot of people are dying to hear 2 to 4 of the other songs anyway.
Yeah.
And so they only kind of just started doing Night Ranger.
Yeah.
So you got Night Ranger, you got Eddie's Coming Out Tonight, you got Sing Me Away, Don't Tell Me You Love Me. There's 4. Call My Name 5. So it's just the other 5 songs, right? If you take out Secret, High Road, maybe take out 4 in the Morning. You can quickly get that album in there, right?
Wait, hold on. How about they just play longer?
That guitar solo too much at 4 in the morning.
Well, just play longer.
Well, you got to remember they are almost 70.
4 minutes, 4 songs, 3 minutes each. It's an extra 12 minutes.
No, what we need is the whole show where it's like they have an intermission, so it's slightly longer.
Take the intermission. I'm all for it.
Yeah,
I second Robyn.
I am just picturing Ed listening to that part right there.
Ed's like, I get this thing loaded and out the door.
But 2022, 40 years of Dawn Patrol, right? They play the whole record of Dawn Patrol. 2023, 40 years of Midnight Madness. You play the whole record of Midnight Madness. I mean, really, how many songs are you adding there? You already play Rockin' America, Rumors, Sister Christian. When you close your eyes,
did you say?
So you would have to kind of throw back in Touch of Madness, which they know what they still can do. Why Does Love Have to Change, which they still can do. Passion Play, which they've been playing recently.
My favorite.
So really, the only songs you'd probably kind of have to work on is Chipping Away and Let Him Run. So that's 2023. 2024, you do another Dawn of Madness where you do both records. 2025, 40 years of 7 Wishes. And then 2026, 27, 28, whatever, you do a farewell tour. Because by that time you're all heading into your mid 70s.
I would love to hear like Faces and all that stuff off 7 Wishes.
So
too.
that was my, like I said, you get to celebrate 40 years because unfortunately there's not going to be 50 years. All right. I just can't see them out in the road. I mean, at 80 years old. So whatever. That was what I would do. I would take advantage of every anniversary, but whatever. So
they don't ask Josh.
But Doug, yes, it would be cool if they did. Christy Casey Orman, What was your favorite venue to see Night Ranger, and do you prefer them inside or outside? What's your favorite venue there, Rockin' Robyn Ludidi?
I was trying to think, the one at Jacobs Pavilion was one of my favorite shows, but the Lima, Ohio, I mean, those are like my favorite shows probably.
Lima was fun. Oh no, Wilmington.
Kelly was on fire that night too. Like, I've never heard him sound so good. And I think they had played Rumors that night too.
Yeah, Lima was the show, Andy, you and your buddy came up to. You were there, right?
Not in Lima. I did Wilmington.
No, you were in Lima. I swear.
No, yeah, because me and Zach had come, and I know there's a picture of me and
did I in Lima?
You didn't make it to sound check.
Oh wait, was that the place I told your Zach to go climb up and get that banner?
Maybe.
you and your buddy went to a hamburger joint.
Yes.
And the hotel.
That was Lima?
Yeah, the hotel was connected to the venue.
It was like the middle of nowhere. It was the veterans thing, wasn't it?
Yep. I remember. Yeah, that was a good show. Damn.
That was the banner.
See, this is where Brent comes in. He remembers my concerts better than I do.
You know what's funny is you always say, I don't want to collect stuff. I want to do experiences, but then you don't remember.
I don't remember these.
You need to buy some material objects.
I got to start taking brain medicines.
Me
talk pretty one day.
So those, Andy, you got a favorite venue
that I've recently seen? It's tough. I loved the theater at Wilmington.
I really like inside shows too, because
I like
another part of the question.
Yeah, I do
too.
I like
controlling the coloring and stuff like that. Like when I think of 80s, I think of like the Dio lights and stuff like that.
Sparks.
Yes. Oh, what I meant. Speaking of Dio, when I was younger, I was flabbergasted. Right, like I'm 13 and I read somewhere he's from Connecticut. Right, I just pictured like him growing up like in a castle in England, with like fire on, torches on the side. And he's like carrying around a sword, and it's like, yeah, he's from Connecticut. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
like, are they fucking with me? But anyways, that's my all right. So Andy,
I liked so the theater up in Cleveland was really something to see.
The Playhouse Theater?
The Playhouse, yeah. That was really a beautiful theater. And Wilmington, I think, was beautiful.
Now, the one in Cleveland, that was a big theater.
It was nice.
I've seen Fan of the Opera there. Like,
really?
Fun to see that dynamic.
Show. So, yeah. I mean, I'm going to go see him at the Mother Church here in February. That might be my new favorite.
I like
the Ryman Auditorium.
I like the theaters, kind of like what you said. Wilmington, the theater in Anderson, Indiana was just phenomenal.
Yeah, that was nice. Brown County.
That one in Wabash, Indiana wasn't too bad either, honestly.
Well, that was a newer theater. That was good.
And Josh, you saw him at the one out in the day the music died, right?
That was at Surf Ballroom. Well, that was cool. That was very cool. Just with the history and the way the place was set up.
I mean, if we're talking in ever that we've seen them, I would go to when I saw them in their hometown in Petaluma. That was fantastic.
Now, if you want me to
not the theater,
if you want,
it was great to see him there.
If you want me to be douchey, I kind of rank everything off though. Like, how's the backstage?
Yeah.
Because well, you can attest, Andy. What was it?
Wilmington left something to be desired.
Wilmington sucked.
The little narrow staircase and
like it was
hallways.
It was like vaudeville era.
Yeah.
That fair one was probably nicer than that. The one that we were at in Wisconsin.
That was nice.
Yeah, that was actually really nice for a fair.
that was nice. But that's the thing with the old theaters. They're beautiful to be in, but like I said, the one in Anderson, Indiana, beautiful theater, but like the backstage, it's like underneath the stage and just fucking
they're old. They weren't built
skeleton key doors. But yeah, I like the theaters. outdoors, I mean, if it's the right venue, Sweetwater was outdoors and it was phenomenal. But I guess it depends on the weather too, you know.
They do it in August though, man. It's hot under a metal roof in August. That's just hot.
Ooh.
Do that shit in May.
All right. Will you ever consider doing a live podcast with Eric prior to the show? Listen, man, Eric is usually on a cocaine binge.
He's unreliable, first of all.
Doing a live podcast is not easy, and we barely have time to do this podcast. But maybe a video or something. I don't know. We'll think of something. We'll take that into consideration there, Christy Casey Orman.
Like maybe for the meetup spot and be like 1 hour.
Yeah. We talked about, did we not, Josh, under the first Daniel Repepe Memorial, where there was talk that we would set up and do something. It just never came to fruition. There was so much going on.
Well, there was,
and logistically,
talk,
it just didn't seem like it was going to work.
But then I think legally, some things had to be pulled, and that was one of them. Because we were offered it, and then then it wasn't offered. Will they be doing as many shows in 23 as they did in 22, or what do you expect? I think they're going to be doing at least as many shows. Obviously, the Bret Michaels tour, July and August, those are 3 shows every weekend for 4 weeks. And now they're January and February and March and April. Those aren't as full as they were last year. But getting in the summer, it seems to be. So we'll see. But I think it's going to be very comparable to last year. Blah 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 blah. He's player December. Blah, blah, blah. Andy Chapin, Thomas Chapin's brother, currently in mourning because of Franco Harris passing away. He wants to know if it looks infected. You've probably been infected since you were 14. Type of ointment or swab do you recommend? I always am one of 2 things is going to kill. Like when I was younger, I drank a shit ton of Jägermeister, and I was convinced you could fucking inject me with HIV and my body would kill it. As I've gotten older, now when I want to get rid of something, it's PBR and scotch. Go get a bottle of Dewar's. That'll get rid of rashes, whatever you got. Also, why is Josh the only one with a decent microphone? Because I care, Andy. Because I care. Debbie Eaton Daniels.
Wait, I think my mic's okay.
Maybe
not as nice as Josh's. I will say that.
Complaints from Josh on how good mine is.
Yeah, yours is super sensitive.
I hear you digesting over there and everything.
He can hear your thoughts.
It's a Christmas cookie brownie, and it's hard to keep away.
Josh just spent the most money on his mic.
Because I care, Andrew.
There you go.
Well, I meant Andy Chapin, Andrew, but
because
I care. Yeah.
I'll take it too.
Debbie Eaton Daniels. This has nothing to do with the band now, but I've always wondered, why didn't Jeff Watson sing backup in concerts in the 80s, but did after the band got together in the 90s and 2000s? Good question. It's something I noticed, but never really put much thought into it.
Maybe he can't really sing well.
But then why did he sing in the 90s and 2000s?
Well, was his mic turned on?
Right? That's
I've played shows with my band where there was a mic next to my mouth and it was not plugged in on purpose.
This is just guessing. In the 80s, you want to be a shredder rock star, get that mic out of your way.
Yeah.
And maybe he didn't have the best voice, and they could, and they're younger, so their voices are all stronger. So you could probably get away with Jack Kelly. I think Fitz, maybe. Did he have a mic? I don't think so.
He did.
Maybe. But Brad sings a lot more, even now.
Yeah.
The backups, the high parts, that's usually Brad. If you listen to the 7 Wishes VHS,
I have it right here. What are you looking for?
I'm trying to think of the song that they go into the drum solo. I think it's just the song Night Ranger. But right before they lead into the drum solo, you hear this high, high voice.
Talking about.
That's Brad.
That scream because he's still on the mic. He's like, and then the music fades out and Kelly's.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So even now, if there was a show,
look at that.
Good stuff.
I want that so bad.
There was a show.
It's sealed.
It's not that. This was a gift from Mark Greenaway for me taking him around the country to see the band. He brought that to me.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it was Renfro Valley in Kentucky. I was backstage and while they were playing, and because I don't know, how certain sounds don't go through the walls and stuff. It was really weird. I was hearing their vocals almost isolated, and I could hear Brad doing stuff. It was really cool. It's like, wow, I've never noticed that, because you're out in front of the the speakers and stuff. I just happened to be in a certain spot, behind all kinds of walls and stuff, and hell, I sat there for probably 2 or 3 songs and just took that in. But yeah, I don't know. That's the only thing I think of is the 80s. Maybe it wasn't needed, and you don't have a microphone in front of you. You can fucking shred, and people can see it. And then in the 90s, everybody's a little older. You probably you don't want to Jack and Kelly use their voice as much as they have to, and just throwing an extra voice in there on some of the songs, and plus you're not a 20-year-old shredding guitar player. Then you're a little bit older. I don't know. That's the only thing I know. Would Night Ranger consider playing a few more songs from ATBP?
I definitely would rather hear Bring It All Home to Me.
They've been playing that live recently.
The question is what do you
not
drop?
where I've been.
What show were we just at? Or it was Brent. The Hobart
Troy.
Arena. Yeah. Bring It All Home to Me almost made it onto the set list. It was on. It was there. It was taken off at the final minute.
I want to hear Dance live.
Yeah.
Not going to, but I want
songs they have played live. Of course, Breakout. They played Breakout a lot. They have played Bring It All Home to Me a few times. They did Coming for You a few shows in early 2000. The Texas shows, I know for sure. Like Billy Bob's and stuff like that. So they've done Coming for You. Just trying to go through the set or the album or the songs there. Really, I think that's it.
Was it Savior or Free that you showed me in the car? And I was like, this is the better than anything on the entire album, official album. It's like one of the bonus.
Savior's a bonus track.
Savior's a bonus track on the physical copies.
Yeah.
It might have been Free.
I think it was Free that I'm talking about.
You said Breakout, right?
I think that one's awesome. They need to do that one.
I think it's just those. They didn't do track 4. Track 5 is
Can't Afford a Hero.
They didn't do that one. They didn't do December. They didn't do Dance. They have not done track 8, Hardest Road. Monkey, Tomorrow, or Lucky Man.
Right.
So back to Robyn. Before the album here, this is going to be me, so I had started when I started working with Kelly. Kelly sent me the record before, 3 or 4 months before it came out. But it included the record, and it included the Japanese bonus track, and it included the songs Free and Wasted Time. So when I got that mail, I had all those songs. So that's how you heard Free back then. So you were one of the very first.
It was a birthday present for me to listen to.
Well, and Josh,
I didn't
talked.
You didn't give it to me. It was just like it was on.
Little bonus. We've talked before, and I think most people would agree. A, Waste of Time should have been on the album, and B, it should be played live as much as they can. It's a fantastic track.
Waste of Time is good. Free is even better.
Yeah, I haven't heard Free. I think you sent it to me, but I haven't listened to it. I have to look it up.
Listen to it.
I don't know why I haven't. I have to go through.
No,
Josh sends me a lot of shit.
Don't go through anything, Andrew. So all right, here's another story. On the way to Renfro Valley, this is weird. I mean, if you go back to our first episode, who would think we'd be talking about this? So I'm driving Jack, Kelly, and Eric to Renfro Valley. It's about an hour drive. And we got talking about maybe the new record. And I mentioned Tomorrow. And, I was able just to pull it up on my phone and play it, in my vehicle. And they're listening to it. And you see, it's just cool looking over and you see Jack bobbing his head and you hear Kelly kind of singing along to it in the back. And then it gets done playing. They're like, yeah, they're all excited. Like, do that song. This so fucking rocks. And then I told him, I love that song. I love Free. And they're like, they hadn't probably heard Free for it, And I remember, one of them's looking, I didn't know it, but they were looking it up on YouTube, trying like, who the heck, where's Free at? And I was like, I am probably one of the only people that have it on digital. And I played Free and they were just like, God, we forgot how great that song is. But tomorrow, like I wish like that momentum had carried on. Like I don't, obviously maybe forgot about, but they were all hyped for Tomorrow. But it was cool just sitting there and playing Tomorrow and watching them get into their own tune because they probably wrote it, recorded it, and then
forgot about it.
Just flushed it out. But yes, Dance and Tomorrow I think would be. And I don't think I posted it. I think I played it on the podcast before. I have a video of them sound checking Dance.
Yeah,
so
I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I played a little bit on the because I don't think you guys could hear it or something. But
yeah,
they did sound check Dance. That's the only other song that they have attempted. So, yeah, it would be cool, Debbie Eaton Daniels, if they would. But people go and they just want to hear the hits, and we're lucky to get one or two songs released. Craig Schrey, I'd like to see a 4K concert on disc. I don't think you're going to get 4K. You'll probably get Blu-ray. But listen, what I saw on the laptop was phenomenal. So
yeah, maybe that's 4K.
I don't think that laptop was 4K. But what I'm saying, if it looked good on the laptop, it's going to look good in your home entertainment center and all that stuff. How about a David Tremblay, something like that? How about a DVD for the 40th anniversary? Preferably one recorded in Vegas next week, since I will be. Well, the 40th anniversary is this year. You got about 10 days, so I don't think so. But next year. But the Vegas show, Daniel, I got bad news for you. I don't think it's being recorded, but it would be nice if there was something out there. But whatever. Wendy Lather. When can we expect to see the 11/9 Cleveland show? See previous answers. She was there with her daughter, her best friend, and her mom, and they were all yelling really loud and whistling.
I yelled a lot that night too.
Yeah. So hopefully you're on there, Wendy. She says her next tattoo is going to be the Night Ranger logo. But she wants to get their autographs on them, kind of like you, Robyn.
I just need to complete my collection here.
I'm waiting for the Fans in Motion logo.
Josh, we should put it out there that we would pay for the logo. We'll pay for the tattoo.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have some funny stories similar to that.
That's not an official offer. I'm just saying it's something we're just spitballing here. I want to get just the Ranger tattoo.
We'll be going around. Yeah, man, they had the Fans in Motion tattoo, and we signed the titty, and like it was a dude. That doesn't matter. It was a
guy.
I actually like the Midnight Madness font on that white shirt that I have, like the yellow and orange.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
John Juanito Davey, longtime listener and longtime friend of the show. What does a load-in consist of for fly-in shows? Rented gears. The band always travel with their own amps and effects. Well, don't know how much information I really want to give away, but most of the time it is their gear. You have East Coast gear and West Coast gear, and they have a crew member drive that gear to the show. So that's how you get your gear. And the load-in is just exactly what it is. It's just get to the venue early in the day and just get stuff all set up and ready to go for a sound check. I mean, what it consists of, I mean, pretty much what you would think. I mean, you got the crew, setting up drums, keyboards, getting all that stuff, getting the guitars ready to go. You got merch, getting stuff back there. You got, Ed is, setting up stuff for the band, and you got, and yelling at people, and you got, sound, you got front of the house, and you got lighting, and, even let's just go into lighting for a little bit with Steve. So what's he doing? Well, he's learning what's at this venue. Every venue has something different, right? And then where the lighting might be configured, might not be how they need it for where they are on the stage. You got to remember the drum kit's off to the side, and it's not your typical rock and roll formation. So, Steve will be there, either adjusting lighting or having some, you'll have local crew, which is, just local people that work for the venue, and they'll go up there and climb on the trusses and move the lights, how they exactly want them. So that's, how lighting would work, and similar for how everybody else works as well. And it definitely takes a lot longer to set it up than it does to tear it down.
Yeah.
Rich Haynes, would they ever do something off Mojo Live? Well, Rich, that would have to have Kelly leaving the band, or not Kelly, but Jack probably leaving the band, because I don't see them doing that while Jack is in the band. And why would they? They're there's no hits off that record.
Shoot, they got albums of their own they don't even recognize.
Yeah, so I don't think you would, you're not going to hear anything off of that record. I'm sure if Brad does something with Gary, with the album release and they go tour, you'll probably hear a couple songs from there. But I don't think you're going to hear anything from Night Ranger. I mean, what makes sense for them to do something live? Well, they do something off ATBPO, or they would, that makes the most sense, or something off at least High Road or something. But if they're going to go off Mojo, why not go off Hole in the Sun or Seven or Neverland?
Don't let up.
So
on a side note, Josh, does Gary Moon do any shows? And if he does he play any of the songs from Mojo?
I would. So the last show I know he did over here was probably about 5 years ago that he did here on the East Coast. Was in Chicago for one of the Melodic Rock Fest, and he did some of his solo songs. He did a couple of the Mojo songs, and then he played. I think he played "You Can Still Rock in America," "Don't Tell Me You Love Me," some stuff like that. He has been doing some acoustic shows out in California, but not many. Okay. He's working with Brad. He's he does that, and then he does some of the solo shows, but he's retired, and him and his wife bought a new place, and they're just living life. Beautiful place on the coast, and
not a bad life.
And he's just kind of doing working with Brad. I think they were just together not too long ago, and then he was doing some acoustic shows here and there out in California. So yeah, he's still doing stuff. The closest mojo that you've ever gotten with Night Ranger, and I've told this before, is saw them at the Marriott Hotel when they got back together with the original lineup in July of '96. This little ballroom in a Marriott Hotel. And so the lights go down, and next thing I know, I hear the beginning of Mojo, that bass slapping modulation, that dun, 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 and I'm like, and now you got to remember, Gary Moon was just in the band 2 months ago. And so this is being billed as original Night Ranger. I'm like, all right, well, maybe this is, but I'd already seen Brad and Jeff, so I knew Jeff was there. And they come out and start playing whatever, Touch of Madness or whatever. But that was the closest. They used the Mojo entrance. So
for the opening. That's nice.
So that's the only time I know Night Ranger and Mojo have ever.
So at the time I was 3 years old.
Oh boy, Josh, is it time to go yet?
Yeah.
I think I just felt my hair growing grayer. Thanks, Robyn.
Lance, a few others. Lance Rushing, and some others. Steve Romig. They busted out Wasted Time. They mentioned it would be released in October. Any updates? What plans for it and Free might be? Maybe part of the Ed Repepi concert project. That is a no. Along with those same lines, when they went into the studio a few months, what was the outcome of that? All right, so let's go back to August. Sweetwater. Andrew and I were there. You came in the day after,
right?
So I was there at Sweetwater. This would have been the next day. So I wasn't there when they were in the studio. I was there the next day. Me and Eric played with keyboards and stuff like that, and then you came the next day. So neither Andy or I were there. So if we were, we still wouldn't tell you what we all know.
Or would we?
But so yes, they were in there. They've said they've recorded Wasted Time. Obviously Wasted Time's already been recorded, so it's probably like a live version. All right. What they're going to do with it, listen, I don't fucking know. And I'm not asking anymore.
They tend to shelve things and keep it and just look at it. I don't.
So yes, but so they were in the studio. It was filmed. So there's film and audio. They did Wasted Time and they did something else. I'm not going to tell you. It's not for me to release or whatever. And it's not a new song. That's all I'll tell you. I don't want to get, your hopes up, but they did do something else. So I don't know. When I hear something, I'll tell you, or hell, you'll probably find out when I do. But I don't know. As of right now, give me a second here. As of right now, there's no nothing out there for it. But I would assume whatever it is, it's done. So I would assume whenever they want to use it, bam, it can be used. Maybe they're on Sweetwater's schedule. Maybe they want to do it for their spring sale or some shit. I don't know.
Or maybe it's a record store day thing.
It could be.
Or maybe it's a bonus track for the Danny Repepi show.
Well, Let's not start that rumor.
Let's see how long it takes it to get back to the band.
Give me a second here. And for them to release it digital, I don't know. I would think as of now, I mean, they probably should have, because I mean, all the purchasing power for that 45 is already done. It was a record store thing, record store day thing, and they've all, it's all been sold now. So now you just have the digital version sitting there. And I can't see what else they have use for it. I mean, I don't think you'd put them on a new album. So yeah, to me they should put it up for sale digital, 99 cents on iTunes or something, and and start at least making some money there. Guys,
is that it?
I think that's it.
That's all the questions.
I kind of like my photo there. Yes.
Like the one that Kelly shared recently, or on Kelly's page.
Oh yeah. I got a few good ones like that.
Yeah, love that one.
Yeah, it was just it's all luck, man. There's that one to choose from, a little bit more color. That one I thought was pretty good. Like this one. I don't think I've showed this to anybody, but you see Jack and Kelly there.
It's nice.
And Brad's kind of looking over at him, smiling.
I was laughing recently watching the Sentimental Street video. Like Kelly full on picks up just Jack and carries him across the room.
Oh, does he? I have to watch that.
Because it's like when he's talking to a girl before they're going up on stage and stuff, and like Jack look over and he like literally just picks him up and walks with him.
Yeah, I watched that too. I know what you're talking about now. I thought it was something new.
No.
Somebody posted the video and I watched it again.
What was it, like the shirt that Brad is wearing in Sister Christian, like Jeff is wearing in 4 a.m. or something like that? Yeah, so if you look,
Def Leppard has a lot of stuff like that too. Like Steve, Joe, and Rick Allen all have like the same shirt on at one point, but not at the same time.
One time they all had the same tank tops and shorts on.
British flag shorts, yeah.
I thought that was a good one to carry.
I have a pair of those. Yeah.
But,
I used to have a pair of them.
But
they don't fit me anymore.
I'm careful with mine, but
I made I hate to say this, and Robyn, you would have appreciated it. I got rid of all of my old vintage concert shirts and things I had from all the 80s, and I regret it immensely now. But like I had, Brent and I saw Def Leppard as an opening band in '83.
Wow.
And we had the tour shirt and all that stuff.
Who'd they open for?
Billy Squier at Cincinnati Gardens.
Ooh, Cincinnati Gardens. That was.
And Brent said to me that night, he goes, "That's not going to stay that way for long," because Def Leppard was on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And then Squier was I mean, he was headlining.
He was big then.
A Photograph
I don't trust
was
people who don't like Squier.
yeah, I mean, well, a Photograph was just making its rounds, and you could see that. I mean, these guys are like 17 and 19 years old, and I saw Pearl Jam at a small club at Bogart's in Cincinnati before they broke. I saw Brent. I saw we saw them. Brent would many times.
Now it's we that I walk into the room.
Yeah, exactly. Shit, Josh, why'd you bring him on?
He's reminiscing. He actually remembers this show, I guess.
Well, I was saying, Brent, how I got rid of all my old concert shirts and my British flag shorts. I have none of it anymore. And just some of the shirts, the concerts we'd see. Now, the thing I still have my Big Life concert shirt, sponsored by Edge and Agree shampoo. I do have that, and I put it on once for the show.
Yeah, and now it's Small Life.
I can do it again if need be.
Oh my God, that one podcast.
Night Ranger always had. Night Ranger always had the great average. Like, what was it? Schlitz beer during Midnight Madness. But
oh wait, hold on.
Yeah, I told Andy when the Pearl Jam was talking about the Pearl Jam, is we went and saw them at the Cincinnati Gardens. They opened for Smashing Pumpkins and Red Hot Chili Peppers, and nobody knew who they were. And we were walking around the halls, and I ran into Dave Aberuzzi.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right there, you can see it says up in the corner. Edge, Agree. I don't know what's that one say?
Presents.
Oh, Present Night Ranger.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
one of these.
Present. Their shampoo sucked.
Wait, look what else I got here. Hold on a second. I found all the stuff when Mark was here.
Yeah, big. That's a good tour program.
I miss tour programs.
That would never be printed today because it has a lot of PII, personal information in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Animal Instinct one of Def Leppard, like it has their childhood home addresses, like 3 of them. Like, yo,
it's got their names, date of birth. I mean,
look at where they were born.
Yeah,
that's like the crew.
That's the management crew, Bruce Cohn, and
and then I also found Brent will like this one.
I can't believe you have the stuff out.
Yeah. That's the one with the poster.
Yeah.
You know, when we were talking about
the piano book.
When we were talking about posters, that one unfolds into cool airbrush.
It looks like a painting kind of, but it's not, you know.
The only thing that would have been better if they would have used the Night Ranger logo instead of just the print across the top there. Let's just do what's in Andy's office. See Yoda up there. Yeah.
Looks like Josh's arm.
Well, that's
but sexier.
That's the one I used. The one on the record, her dress is white.
Mm-hmm.
And the background's yellow.
I mean, come on. I want this right here.
Dude, when I was like,
if I could have one piece of memorabilia,
and it's got a rip in it. It's got a rip in the seam. I remember.
When I was 8 years old, that was the coolest shit ever.
It still is.
But
I mean, what?
Suddenly, when I was 9, I was kind of catching on. I'm like, hey, I don't know about
chicks
that.
aren't digging the marching band uniform. Trust me, I was in marching band. That was a dry spell for Andy. That lasted for years.
You know, spell or 7 years.
I mean, however you want to, you know.
I got the Reds hat on there in memory of Mr. Tom Browning.
Yeah, what is that? It looks silver. The C looks silver. Is that a shiny?
Just different color.
Embroidery.
I don't like walking around with a big ass red hat, so I got this was at least a little bit darker.
Then you're gonna hate what I got you for Christmas, then.
Did I ever tell you I saw Tom Browning's Perfect Game?
No,
you were there.
I was
watching on TV.
No, I was there. So, my uncle's friend that he had worked with, was a Dodgers fan. So the year before, my uncle had moved by then, so they would go meet at a Reds game, and they would go see Reds Dodgers, and I would tag along, and my uncle's buddy would bring his 2 kids who are about my age. So at 87, we went down and saw Reds Dodgers. 88, we went down and saw Reds Dodgers. So we go there, and there's like 2-hour rain delay. Now I'm 11 years old, so I'm running around, just having a good time and playing. Never thought the game would start or we would stay, but then the game started. My uncle and his friend were sitting probably 10 rows behind home plate. Our seats were 3 or 4 seats, or 3 or 4 rows up from first base dugout. But there was no one there. I mean, you could sit about wherever you wanted. And at this point, me and my buddies are just running, me and those 2 other kids just running around and not really paying much attention to the game. And I remember, we watched some of the game and go do stuff. I remember about maybe like the 7th inning, Robyn Ludidi, are you falling asleep on my story? I remember about the 7th inning, or my uncle was like, Tom Browning's pitching a perfect game. Well, I thought he was just having a good game.
Like, yeah.
To me, a no-hitter was what was great, but a perfect game is no hits, no walks, no errors, and they're very rare. And so but we stayed, and I was behind home plate when the final outs happened, and Tim Belcher, for a kid, it was a boring ass game because Tim Belcher, I think, threw a 2-hitter. It was a 1-0 game. And my uncle, we stayed there after the game, and eventually Tom Browning came out with champagne, and I was behind the backstop, and he sprayed it. And I remember getting champagne on me, and I bought an Oakland A's batting helmet because I collected batting helmets at the time, and you could never find Oakland A's, and I found one down there. And on Sports Center the next morning, you could see him doing the champagne on people. You really couldn't see my face, but you see that big ass orange helmet. So yeah, it's a little
yellow. That was a yellow helmet.
Well, it was orange. It was not orange. I mean, it was green with the yellow bill.
Yeah.
So yeah, when he passed away, it was kind of like, oh fuck, dude. It's like
I'm looking that up on YouTube, but it's on YouTube.
I have looked forever for that footage. I cannot find it. The only thing I can find is a picture of him with the champagne in the backdrop, but there's no fans in it. So that's all I have ever found of it. But yeah,
I could tell you a story of my favorite Reds game with Andy.
Did he get drunk and puke?
Hang on a second.
No,
Robyn, I was trying to find something that you would appreciate, but I couldn't. I found this though.
You bought this.
I need that.
I have the Brent. What was that? I have it. I didn't have time to find it.
You bought the tour book?
Apparently, I don't remember going to the concert.
I drug you to the concert. You didn't want to go.
But I got the. Remember that Hysteria book, Brent, that came out? It was
like
a thick little
Animal Instinct.
Yeah,
sure.
That's what it's called.
I have it. I was trying to find it. I thought Robyn would appreciate it.
And they talk about
I have it if you want to see
incident.
Yeah, that's the one.
One guy on YouTube always comments, "Maybe kill my." I think it's going to be like less Def Leppard, less Reds talk, more trousers,
more Night Ranger talk.
Well, I used to drag Andy to Reds games. He's not a baseball fan. But he enjoyed going with me because he could get a pink lemonade and nachos for like $4, and we would sit in the top 6 all the time for $3. And I'd go so much I knew the ushers, and they would take us down to the blue seats like the 4th or 5th inning. But I digress. Andy went with me one night. There was a girl that I liked, and I was trying to impress her. So but Andy came along because I had an extra ticket. Long story short, I got to get to the setup first. There was a bachelorette party that was sitting behind us, and they kept asking me for my underwear. And I whispered, I kept telling them no. And the girl's like, give them your underwear. And I whispered to Andy, I'm like, I don't have any underwear on. Because I was doing laundry. I was doing a visual. Yeah, I had jeans on, but I was doing laundry and they weren't dry and I had to go. I'm like, I don't have any underwear on. I don't want this girl to know I don't have underwear on. So Andy goes into the bathroom, takes his pants off and brings back his underwear, gives them to the girls.
Were they the white?
They might have been.
The white ones with the gold and blue band around the top?
No, they were. I was always been a boxer kind of
guy. And I remember going to the bar afterwards. And that party was there, and she's walking around with the underwear like on her head and shit. I'm like, ugh.
She had the quick version is that I said, I'll give you my underwear if you promise to go see my friend's band.
Oh, that's okay. I forgot about that part.
Caddies. And they said, okay, we'll be there. So we go down to Caddies. A friend of ours' band was playing, and she had pinned. There was like a scavenger hunt, and she'd pinned all these things to her veil. And there she was. I was like, hey, there's my underwear.
There's your skid marked underwear.
So we both did. So we both walked around without underwear on that night.
I was still in my dry spell, Josh, in case you're wondering. Those keeping score at home.
This is bullshit.
I was, let's see, I started in my sophomore year, freshman year of high school.
So this was what, this season?
This was what, I was probably 4 or 5 years out of high school by then.
This was like 1989, 1990.
Yeah, pretty solid run for Andy.
Yeah, but I'll never forget.
I don't know why
He was sitting to my left, and I was like, I don't have any underwear on,
Yeah.
And he's like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, I didn't have time.
Yeah, those are things I didn't need to know at all.
Listen,
Yeah, but
underwear is overrated unless you're lounging in the house. I used to go commando all the time.
Yeah, well,
I'm in my underwear right
Robyn, now you know. I know you were wondering.
Yeah.
and that's why he wears his trousers real tight.
Yeah. Is
So
that an armadillo? Is that a mole rat?
So anyway, did you guys all do the stuff on the page where they ask the questions?
We
Yes.
we did everything.
Did you get Andy Chapin's question about the best infection and what have you?
Yeah.
'Cause I've got the answer. I've got props.
Oh boy.
Since I have my lovely, we use Aquaphor. Aquaphor is fantastic.
Is that good for an
And-
infection?
Well, it'll help prevent it and it'll help the scarring.
I think he's already got it. That's the problem.
And then you get this cocoa butter skin therapy oil. Quite good. But if
I
you
think
get
that
it,
infection
I got to
he's
get it on
talking
my
about-
lip. And if you get it inside your lip, it fucks up your taste buds for the next 4 hours.
If
Okay,
we
let me
did
write-
not have a female guest
Let me write that down.
on this podcast, I would tell you exactly what you need.
Oh, some
A
duck
shot of
butter.
gasoline.
Some duck butter. Ooh, good one.
I would say Chapin's main problem is he's a Steelers fan.
Ooh,
No disrespect to the one who just passed.
yeah,
But,
but it was against the Cowboys.
By the way, I say it as this is the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception, right?
Fuck Steelers.
But it's also the 2021st anniversary of the Immaculate Conception.
Ooh, yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You should end now, Josh. It's not going to get any better at this point.
Yeah. It was, oh shit. What am I going to tell my husband?
Boy, this is going to get awkward.
Well, listen. So here's what happened.
Listen, you got to believe me.
You're not going to believe this.
Me speaking no English.
He said he was the savior of the world. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. So,
I've tried that. It doesn't work.
so
I have anniversary festivities whenever we're
Go.
ready. Me
Go.
and Zach's 5-year.
Wow.
But didn't you have a break in between there?
Yeah.
thanks
it
for
was
bringing
less
that
than
up,
a year.
Brent.
How long was that break?
Nice. Very nice.
Are
Congratulations.
you
to both of
engaged?
you.
Yes.
Are you?
Mhm.
When did that happen?
We've been when we came back together, it was 2 months ago, I think.
Yeah.
I've been wearing it since. Yeah.
Well, congrats.
Congratulations.
Well,
Thank you.
congratulations. Just be aware that forever's a long fucking time. All right.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
make sure you the vows is just till death do you part, because you do not want to be in a committed relationship for all eternity. Like in eternity, I kind of want to be single, doing my own thing. So just don't, make sure that's not in the clause when you tie
Wording.
the knot.
See, Josh's mistake was he did the Night Ranger podcast single, where Andy and I were already attached.
There is no way in fuck I could have done a Night Ranger podcast if I was with my child's mother. That wouldn't have happened. Just would not happen.
Really?
It would have happened
Listen.
for about 5 minutes, and you see shit get thrown at me or something.
I still get now. We're knocking on 3 years of doing stuff like this. 2 years of podcasting, and Teresa still says to me, "What in the heck are you guys still talking about?" To which I say, "Clearly, you're not a subscriber, because you would know what we're talking about."
She just thinks you're downstairs.
She thinks we're just sitting around talking, like we're not talking
No,
about
she thinks
anything.
you're downstairs jacking at the midget porn, and she don't give a fuck because she's got a few hours by herself.
Yeah,
She's up there watching her Desperate Housewives and other shit. And
no, he's watching the Desperate Housewives. She's watching the midget porn.
No, I'm watching MASH reruns.
Well, the thing I like about midgets is
that's seriously that's what I'm doing.
You know, like what my buddies were always like, why are you always with, why are you with midgets sometimes? And what I like is like their hand, like when they're holding my cock, it looks huge.
Wow.
It's just like,
where is this coming from?
Now
I'm just sorry. Someone needs to stop him right now.
Now I did tell you the story about
a very bad place
about the small person at the Midnight Madness tour. Did I not?
Did you fuck her?
No. We went to school with her. She was about 4 or 5 years older than Andy and I. And I'm sitting on my seat, and this like biker dude next to me is just smoking a joint. And she walks by and he's looking, and he goes, "That's good shit." I'll never forget it. I was like, "Oh God, I don't know what the girl's name was." I remember me telling you that, Andy.
I don't remember. I mean, I remember you and I did not go to that concert together.
We did not.
So,
is that the one where you went with the hot girl?
I did.
Yeah,
I did. Still, not a get lucky hot girl, but
the chipping away girl.
It was
hot. Yeah, she was singing "Chipping Away." I was like, that makes you so much hotter. Like you don't even know it.
It was during that 7 year dry spell.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I like. But midgets. So yeah. Or what I'll do sometimes is, I'll get like, I'll go to my cousin's house and I'll get some of my, my little cousin, she has Barbie dolls, so I'll grab some of those and bring them back to my house, and like I'll get like the Barbie doll's hand, and like I'll put the credit card in there because I know that's what women like, and I'll put it like next to my dick, and they're like, "Holy shit! Look, that this dick is humongous, and he's got a credit card." Or I'll like get the Barbie Corvette, and take a picture, send it to the girls, and they're like, "Holy shit! His balls are as big as that tire."
I'm just assuming this is all going to be edited out, right?
Oh, no.
I can't even with my
the balls and tire. I think that's an old Robert Schimmel joke. I don't want to take credit for that one, but
Robert Schimmel, good guy.
But yeah, that's how you.
Enough out of Josh's imagination.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
I'm just glad we didn't get to the dream house.
Well, I might as well tell this midget story since we're on midgets. So I was taking, I call my stepdaughters, but my kid's mom, her 2 daughters, they were in their teens, and we were doing the Black Friday shopping at the mall, so like 3 a.m. right? And this is years ago, and one of the stores wasn't open in the mall. They got those chain kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it was only up like 2 or 3 feet, and we walked by, and they're like, "What's going on there?" All the other stores were open. I'm like, "Oh, for the first hour, midgets get in free, or midgets get a shop first." And they kind of laughed, right? And remember, this is like 3 a.m. There's not a lot of people there. We turn the corner, walk about 20-30 feet, go to the doors to go out to the parking lot, and a midget is walking in. And they just look at me. I'm like, "I told you." Perfect timing. I still like say prayers to that midget for making that joke work. But yeah, I mean, fuck, we could talk midgets all day. What else do you want to talk about?
I don't. I want to go to bed.
You gotta get up at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh, and then when you coming down here, up here? Friday
after I get off work, we're driving up.
Like midget role play too. Like I always wanted to be with one, like have him wear an Ewok outfit, but leave it on, like just tear a little hole where I need to go. But like, what Ewok would you do? Would you do like Wicket, or like one of the ones,
you do Teeth Chirpa?
Maybe, but yeah, so.
See, I saved you. I knew another Ewok's name.
That's 2 more than I knew.
You knew Wicked.
I would have said Gizmo. The best I got.
I would say I'm surprised.
Can I wrap it up? Can I cut you out and you guys keep going?
I would say I'm surprised there is no Ewok porn, but I'm pretty sure there probably is.
Well, there's that furry stuff going on.
What?
Andy was a furry.
What's a furry?
Furries where they dress up in animal costumes and they act like they're animals and they have sex with each other.
Again, I was in a dry spell. I did dress up in an animal costume. Yeah, there's no denying that. There's pictures of it.
The drummer, the Muppet animal.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm really going to get back and watch this now.
Andy, are you done talking about humping and animal outfits?
I wasn't humping. I was a school mascot.
Oh, that's right.
I was an unsanctioned school mascot.
Right when you say that, I think of Saving Silverman.
Yeah, I was unsanctioned.
Hold on, I'll get a picture of it.
Yeah. I had a bizarre, and I still do. I have mad respect for the San Diego chicken.
Yeah. Hey, it's amazing that you had that dry spell.
No, it's not. When I say these things out loud, Teresa looks at me. She's like, "Really?" It's like, it's all yours, baby. All yours.
Half the time, I didn't even want to jerk off with myself.
I don't know why I'm divorced twice.
Andy was the only kid that knew Ted Gianolis's name in school, and I only knew it because Andy knew it.
I've met the man.
That's the San Diego chicken.
Started as the KGB chicken, became the San Diego chicken.
He had posters hanging on his wall.
He also did the baseball bunch with Johnny Bench.
Aerosmith, Get a Grip. Let's get back to Night Ranger real quick. Aerosmith, Get a Grip. What's the Night Ranger connection?
Jack Blades and Tommy Shaw wrote for that record.
What song?
Pink's not on that album, is it?
No.
Pink's on the next one.
Don't Want to Miss a Thing. Crying. Love in an Elevator.
Wasn't a single.
No, I don't know what it was.
Shut Up and Dance.
Oh, I do know that. Featured
in Wayne's World 2.
Yeah.
And the other song they wrote was on their greatest hits big ones, and it was called Walk on Water. Great song. 2 new tracks on that record, Walk on Water and Blind Man.
Okay.
Robyn, you got issues hanging out with geriatric old men and me.
It's probably the last time she does it. She's like, Josh, I'll be busy.
I rushed home for this 10 minutes.
You're talking about Barbie dolls and midgets.
San Diego chicken. Look it up.
Dude, wait till I talk about this.
Ewoks.
Wait till I tell the story about
Gizmo.
This broad in Topeka, 1997, jumper cables and castor motor oil.
Oh, Josh,
I'll tell you that story sometime.
You're
sorry, that wasn't Topeka. That was another one. This was in Hayes, Kansas. Sorry, east or west side of Kansas, or west part of the state.
The joke that you shared with me and Brad Gillis and what have you, I told that at my Christmas part 1 last weekend. Everybody was crying.
Yeah. Well,
it killed at our table. It did not kill at the other table.
That is a different joke. I think I told Brent and Brad.
Yeah, I'm not repeating it.
Yeah, but but yes, I like when I told Brad that, and he just cracked up and he went to the other table and told it, and it get quite the response.
Wah, wah, wah.
It's funny over here.
He said these guys have a better sense of humor.
Andy, I can't find the chicken costume.
I'll
Is that
dig
what we're
it
still
out.
waiting on?
I'm looking for it.
Robyn, take us out.
I can't take Andy's job from him.
It's really there's no prep for it whatsoever.
Hey, before
you can tell if you watch closely, Robyn. I'm grasping at straws the whole time.
I wanted to wish everybody a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, or whatever it is you celebrate. Sorry, I've been on here much.
Hey, what about Kwanzaa, you racist fuck?
I said whatever everybody celebrates, they can celebrate. I'm recognizing 2, and then you can recognize the rest. And And by the way, thanks for filming that thing, the huddle thing, Josh.
Well, if you remember, you were about ready to turn right, and I told you to keep coming left. One, because I knew there was a huge area and we wouldn't be in the way.
Well, I just didn't. I don't want to wear out my welcome. I was going to get back to my seat.
Well, I know that, but again, it's just all feel. It was a big backstage area.
Did you discuss that on the last show at all?
No. So what we're referring to is
because I went back with Josh backstage with Night Ranger in Troy, Ohio, and we're in the hallway and they're singing a cappella in their dressing room, and it's amazing sounding. They're singing Penny. I mean,
there you go, Robyn.
I mean, what else were they singing? I mean, I wish they would do an a cappella song on stage. They're incredible. And
I've always wanted to go live with that, but
God, it's fantastic.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't.
Yeah, and so anyway, Josh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're right. I'm just picking up shit I'm dropping.
I was just hanging out with Josh, and and they start coming out, and Eric goes to fist bump me, and I think he's trying to hand me one of his IPAs. I'm like, oh no, I'm not. He's, oh no, this is my beer. I'm not offering you one. I'm like, oh well, thanks.
I want you to hold it for me.
So then Carrie comes out and fist bumps me. Then Brad comes out, and Brad and I are hitting it off. It's really cool. And he's telling Jack, look at his face, and all the guys had already seen a picture of my face, and because they all told me about it back in, what was it, Nashville, Indiana. And Jack looks, he goes, I know, Brad, we saw the pictures. Good stuff anyway. So they were coming out to take the stage, and we were backstage, and I was telling Josh I'm going to go get to my seat. And Josh kept me. He's like, no, hang on a second. But I don't think you didn't know that was going to happen.
I didn't know that was going to happen, but
I didn't know it was going to happen.
If you're in the area, sometimes it can happen. But again, it's all about venues, and that had so much room. I knew that you could come with me and we could be out of the way. And so if it was somewhere else, if it was one of the theater shows, that wouldn't have happened. But, that show, again, it's all feel. The band was in a good mood, right? If there's been issues all day, they're not in a good mood, then that's not happening. Did I know that was going to happen? No, I was maybe hoping it would. That's why I had the camera going. But I knew even if you didn't, it was still cool to, I don't know
see it
if you've ever seen a walk up before. So that's what I was really wanting you to see. But when they went to do that, usually they'll pull people in, and I knew it was happening. So I grabbed the camera and they pulled you in, and I got right over you and got in there and made, it ended it perfectly right when you turned around and smiled and ended it. So
I thought, holy, when he said Brent, and I see this hand, I thought, are you fucking kidding me? But I played it cool.
Did you drink the tequila? Did they have a tequila for you?
No, they didn't have one.
All right. They may not have had any at all. I can't remember it being out there, but that's good. No, you don't have to, chug some tequila there. But so yeah, it was good. I got it on video, and
I found a program to copy it. I couldn't wait to copy it. I had to have a copy of it.
I thought I sent to you on Facebook.
No, I just copied it.
Oh, all right. But yeah, so and at one time they were selling those as VIPs, part of the VIP package, like $300. So there you go, Brent. You're up $300. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, listen, we're living the dream. It's cool stuff. Like here, this is going to be a fucking, douchey comment or whatever, but like I had to turn down having dinner with Brad, and it's like, hey, you want to go to dinner? Him and a couple other people were going, And I told him no, because I wanted to wait around. I had, Brent was showing up, and I had a couple other people showing up, and I wanted to be there for him. But, after I do that, I'm just like thinking like, I just, I'm like, fuck Brent and whoever else I'm with.
You should have went.
Well, I needed to be there for people. Andy, we can't hear you. But
sorry,
yeah,
I was coughing earlier.
But that's just like, sometimes you pinch yourself, and it's just like, we've all gotten lucky. And yeah, I mean, it's great too. Like, even when we were at Troy, it's like we had a good turnout there, and Cleveland, and so.
What's the merch girl's name? My mind just
Angela.
Angela. I'm standing next to Angela, and Ed comes out with Brad's guitar with Bubba, and he's coming right towards me with it, and he hands it off, and I thought, is he going to hand this to me? And then Angela's hand comes from my side. I'm like, damn.
Like, yeah, easy there, hero.
Yeah, it's you think it's going to be cool, because they did that to me once, and well, the first time he did it was at the
Monsters on the Mountain, right?
No,
St. Louis.
Yes, it was Monsters on the Mountain.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I told you, the story about the guitar strap, the nut coming out, and yeah. So that was fucking awesome. The next night was the show.
Surf
Brent's
Ballroom.
Birthday. No,
Brent,
that was the first time I got to see it up close. But
okay,
was Brent's birthday out there in Tennessee at that weird little gig?
Yeah. Dixon.
Oh yeah.
Remember how it rained and like that whole grass area? I had to walk about 75 yards in mud and muck with it. All I'm thinking is, I'm going to fucking fall. Hey, why is Brad's guitar covered in fucking mud? Hey, it's because I'm a dipshit. So, and there was no security. Like, they had locked the stage door, and the police officer had gone. This is at Monsters of the Mountain. So now I can't get backstage with it. They're getting ready to go on. And the only way I could really get anybody was to maybe go into the venue, which I didn't want to do. Finally, I found a police officer like, listen, I need to get this door open right now. And he was able to do it. So yeah, it's fun, but and then Andy, I just remember just looking over to my left and seeing Andy and Brad sitting there talking, eating chicken wings.
Very surreal moment of my life, I'll be honest with you.
And then I keep forgetting, Robyn, you were with me in Wisconsin. Right.
The thing that blew my
now, hold on one second.
Yeah,
Robyn, is that story canon?
What?
The Wisconsin story? Are you?
I don't know this story.
No, I mean, is it okay to mention that story that you were in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
All right.
That was the day before my birthday last year.
Right.
My birthday was the 12th, and that was the 11th.
I just, I just want to make sure, like, the significant others, listening, and I never
knows I was there.
All right, good. But so Robyn got to, go backstage and talk to him and just hang out, and we've all been.
That was probably my favorite interaction.
And it was a good outdoor show too. Most of
that was the first time they did Breakout live.
Was it?
No, Breakout was first time they did it live was when I first met you, when we went to Wabash. So we were in rehearsals. That was the very first time they ever did it.
All right.
Or was it the first time they tried Bring It On Home to Me?
No, they did, but it was both. It was the first show for Breakout, and we were sitting there, and I looked at you, and I said, "This is the first time they've ever done this." Because that's when Jack was asking us to get the lyrics.
Was that the sound check though, or was it?
It was the but they played Breakout at the show. That was the first show they ever played to that.
Andy, does that sound right?
Sure.
I thought Wisconsin Dells they did one of the
I wasn't
songs
there
for the first time.
No, Wisconsin. Was it Wisconsin like the day after Wabash?
That's
I would guess I would have to look.
Actually, I have the set list right here. I'm looking at Wabash, and
Wabash they did
no Breakout, and then Wisconsin Dells has Breakout.
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, the first
Sorry,
time
I
they did it,
like on the one.
they
that-
did it
Maybe-
live on stage was Wisconsin.
Well, I know in Wabash they did Bring It All Home to Me.
but not in
No,
concert.
not in concert. At sound check.
Yeah, it was a sound check. So.
You know what? You might be right, Robyn, because I remember
set
going.
lister, right?
She's like, according to my documentation.
I was.
Well, what's the date on the set list?
It's a.
What, you know,
It just says 2021 on both.
those 3 shows were in a row. I was at all.
I
of
remember
them,
because it was my birthday was the 12th, and Wabash
Wisconsin
was the 10th,
after that,
and
the
then
day after.
Wisconsin
Yeah.
was the 11th.
but I remember
that was
going.
it was like midnight when we were leaving, and
I just remember going live on Breakout on one of the pages. Which
it was Wisconsin.
which I probably would have went live with it.
I'm
in
with you, Robyn. I
Wabash.
think it was Wisconsin.
Now the Wabash show was the show that I was going live at the very end, and Jack took my phone and has it up on
They
stage.
did Rumors, didn't they? Yeah, me and Brent were screaming during Rumors.
Nice.
Yeah,
They should always be in the set list.
Well, they brought it back in when we were in Troy, and I didn't know they were bringing it.
Yeah.
I knew some of the songs they were going to do that night, and I told Melissa and Kathy, there's some surprises tonight. They're like, oh, yeah, what are they? I'm like, I'm not telling you. When Rumors came on, I went, Rumors, fuck yeah! I just screamed out really loud because I haven't heard that in over a year,
I just remember that Wilmington show when I saw that set list.
Oh, Passion Play?
Well, Passion Play, 7 Wishes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
God, there was
Passion
another
Play, I
one that
love
was
that.
kind of deep too, and I can't remember, but yeah, I was just like, holy shit. Yeah,
that
so
and Why Does Love Have to Change, and then that one. But like Passion Play and Can't Find Me a Thrill were my favorites when I was like 17.
Yeah.
and you know what? And it's weird. Can't Find Me a Thrill. I always thought, like I like the production on, Dawn Patrol, but I always thought that song could sound so much. It could sound so much better. To me, it was always just a little bit light. Like to me, like Eddie's Coming Out Tonight, Night Ranger, those songs are just thick and heavy. And I just thought, Can't Find Me a Thrill, could have been the same, and it just never. But I love Can't Find Me a Thrill. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Here's
just not at night she sleeps.
Well, I'll tell that story. Well, here I'll tell you guys. I might have told you guys. I can't remember. So when the 40th anniversary was coming up for Dawn Patrol, and we didn't really know a date, I called Brad, Jack, all of them. You guys, I'm hoping it was released the day after my Aunt Jenny's birthday. That's what I'm looking for, and none of them had that. But Jack had boxes of stuff that were mailed to him back then. So he's going through stuff. He sends me a picture of a box from Boardwalk, and I had to tell him, there are people who would want that box, right? But back to the songs on Dawn Patrol, he hadn't. Now, if you guys remember, I have an acetate record of Dawn Patrol, and it's like 8 songs from Dawn Patrol. But I don't think there's any difference in them. And for those who don't know, back then, if they wanted to get a listen to what they've been recording, they would make an acetate record, which is a heavy, almost metal record, and it's got a short shelf life, and that's what they would do. But Jack found one from early 82, had 3 songs on it. And to me, if it's only got 3 songs on it and it's that early, my money is those are different mixes. And I told him, he doesn't have a fucking turntable. I told him, I go, he doesn't really give a shit about, you need to keep 1, I want it.
Yeah.
2,
I want it.
That's money. I mean, if you're ever going to do an expanded version or something, and
box set,
you guys don't have these masters, or and they've never done anything. So any masters they had were destroyed in that fire.
Yeah.
Where they've got some remastered stuff they've done in Japan, you can use those. But if they never did anything with demos, who knows if they even had them, but they're gone in that fire. So, yeah, we all need to make a visit to Jack's house and get that acetate record.
I'm in, man. I'll quit my job tomorrow. Tell me.
Yeah. But
speaking of which, I gotta go.
No, we are just getting started. So welcome.
Look, 2 hours and 10 minutes into this.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Now I'm wondering what the hell we still talking about.
It's my fault. I'm sorry. I should have just stayed away.
Well,
I just know my alarm's gonna go off at 3:30 in the morning. I'll call all you guys. How about that?
No, I won't answer.
I'll make sure you guys get up when I'm up.
It's okay. Just
my day off, so do not
Robyn's
disturb
like, I don't
is
care.
like awesome.
Just gotta drive machinery.
Yeah, I'm just driving 8,000-pound forklift around.
It's all right.
You drive any forking thing around.
Damn straight I can.
Sorry, I didn't have time to set up my microphone, by the way. I just jumped on here.
Sounds better.
Thank
Actually,
you.
See, that goes back to Orion's question.
Well, was
Why
it
does
Orion?
Josh only have the good microphone?
I don't think it was Orion, but
And it wasn't Orion. It was Andy Chapin.
Andy Chapin, currently in mourning.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
No. Take us out, Andrew.
Thank you, everybody.
Do the long one. Long spiel.
Thanks for putting up with us. If you're
Where can you find us?
if you're still listening to this at this point, I really am curious about what's going on in your life at this stage of the game.
They're hiding from their family.
You don't want to know.
Christmas.
But go to YouTube. Find us on YouTube if you want to watch this madness, this descent into madness. But you can also find us on all your podcatchers out there: Spotify, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, which is the one I listen to, Stitcher. I think we're even on iHeartRadio. Josh, am I correct on that, or do you know? I think I listened to it one time on iHeart because I have that app. Pandora
or L-O-M-N-O-P Heart.
There you go.
Boom, boom.
Oh,
It's about
boys.
a midnight madness now.
Yeah, jeez. Oh boy, we got to go. But thank you so much for tuning in and staying with us. If you're still here and being a fan of the greatest band out of Northern California. With that, Merry Christmas, everybody,
Merry Christmas, everybody.
and Happy Hanukkah. Sorry, and all the other stuff I forgot.
Merry New Year.
All the holidays.
Yeah,
Merry
Happy
Christmas,
holidays.
you filthy animals.